Hey guys, Simply Betta here. Today I'm doing a little bit of a fish room tour, but it's not really a fish room tour. With most fish room tours, it's basically like, hey, look at this fish room and look how nice I've made it and how proud I am of it. This isn't really one of those videos. This is like the opposite. It's like the opposite. It's like, hey, look at this fish room and think about all the potential it has. As you can see on this list right back here, it's my to-do list. I've had this up for like months and months. I've done everything except for this little fish room tour at the bottom, and my reward was supposed to be getting my tokay geckos, but I got impatient. I got the tokay geckos before I finished the list. My husband loves to tease me about this, but the list is done. If you've been following along on my channel recently, you'll know that I was super pregnant for a while, and then I had a baby, and because of that, I downsized my fish room. Before I had the baby, while I was still pregnant, I was like, God, this is gonna be hard. So I downsized the fish room. I found new homes for a lot of my fish. The fish room kind of dwindled, became not as nearly as impressive as before. But that's also kind of the reason that I want to do this video. It's because I want to do this little walkthrough, and then later on, after I've got back into the flow of things and I'm feeling really good about the fish room again, I could show like a real fish room video and be able to compare the difference and see just how much I've been able to do. Does that make sense? The first thing you'll probably notice is a child-proof door handle. This is great. And there it is. You'll notice the door doesn't really open all the way. My dehumidifier's behind there at the moment. I took a moment just to turn off my dehumidifier and my central air system so that way I can talk and it's not very loud in here. I wouldn't say the fish room's noisy, but there's definitely like a constant white noise that my little baby loves, by the way, so I can actually bring him in here when he's cranky and he hears the white noise and he just starts to calm down. It's so nice. So the first thing you might notice when coming into the fish room is this big thing on my wall. What is this? This is a Betta grow out rack. Basically, this down here is a garbage can, which acts as the sump. So all these fish are getting dripped this nice heated filtered water. But I'm also able to have this really big grow out rack where I can take the males that are growing out of the spawns. They're getting aggressive. I have to separate them from everybody, and they can go in here to finish growing out until they're ready to go to new homes or go to the pet store or to be my next generation of breeder fish. So this is a sump down here. I'm trying to get a good look in there. I basically put a bunch of filter media in a place where all of the water current was, and it's working pretty well. A bunch of the jars have some pothos in them with roots. What I have slated on the project list for this rack is to actually get some LED lights up here for the plants and to illuminate the fish a little bit more. The fish are acting pretty excited right now. That's because just for this video, I went ahead and I uncarded them so they can see each other, so they can flare around, so they can get some exercise. So this whole rack can hold about 42 or 44 fish. 42. I don't like using those two little guys up there. I need a dehumidifier. This is a fairly small room. I mean, this is just a converted bathroom, as you'll see as I keep going. This is just a bathroom. That's my dehumidifier. I empty the bucket about once a day, and it just keeps things a little more not super humid in here because I just want to be careful to take care of the room. And then I have it plugged into an extension cord because that way I can move the dehumidifier. So sometimes I move it right here just so I can open the door wider, and sometimes it sits back there. This garbage can acts as my water change bucket. So I'll fill this with water, I'll treat it. I can age it in here. I have a pump in here, it circulates the water. I can age it. The reason why this water is a brownish color is because I've added a whole lot of tannins. This isn't dirty water, guys. This is tannin water, which fish actually appreciate a lot. I can also fill this with RO water. I have an RO unit down here underneath my sink, so I can fill this with water and make it softer if I need to. Yeah, the reason I have a whole lot of tannins in there right now is because I have some imports coming up, and I think they might be one of my next videos. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do the order yet, because I have a lot happening right now, and not a whole lot of time to edit videos. I say this is a grow out rack, but because I haven't been active, this has been more of a just keeping my fish safe and healthy rack as I was struggling just to keep up with maintenance in the fish room. So these are actually adult fish and they are just keeping my sump nice and cycled and healthy, and that's why they are in this rack. I keep some of my more commonly used products just here in the fish room on my shelves. Now, Brightwell Aquatics is my sponsor, so I use all of their supplies. I use black water, which is essentially a tannin. It's a black water extract. It's a concentrated tannin source. So I can literally just pour a bunch of tannins into a cup, put it in my water bucket, and I can do that instead of having to rely on Indian almond leaves soaking or making my own teas or that kind of thing. That's just convenient. I also use Florinbacter and Fast Start a lot when I'm starting new tanks or I'm restarting them after sterilizing them. And then Florin Multi and Florin Axis I've been using on my planted tanks. So I do like a daily dose this way. I have big jugs just because I use a lot. Big old jugs. So this is the bathroom counter, you know, my sink, and I have some storage down here and a big old mirror. Hi. I have some small storage up here, just some like IKEA pegboard that holds some small supplies of mine so they don't get scattered around. And then when I turn this, I'm trying to stand back so I can get like a good shot because it's such a small space, but this is essentially my fish room right here. You can see now that this was an old bathroom. Like this back here is a little nook where the toilet was, and then this is the bathtub that I put shelves above. Completely non-destructive, by the way. If I ever have to move out, I can take out all these shelves, just fix a few little holes in the wall, and then I'm done. Down here are 10-gallon spawn tanks or little fry grow-out tanks. Then on this shelf has been a miscellaneous shelf this whole time. It's been holding jars of growing out fish. At the moment, it's holding my 20-gallon long. That if you've been watching my channel, you'll know that I divided it into so many little dividers because I was getting pregnant, I was getting exhausted, I was scared that I wasn't going to be able to take care of my fish how I wanted to. So I made this, and it's worked fantastic. I mean, there's 10 fish in a 20-gallon tank. It's very densely stocked, but I have a little canister filter. I've been up on the water changes, not so much on turning the light on and off, as you can see by the algae. Yeah, that's some pretty bad algae, I admit it. I wanted to show a shot of this and that I still had it, and that this is actually going to be repurposed a little bit. I'm going to be taking out some of the dividers. These are Life with Pets dividers that she actually sells on her website, so that you can remove them really easily. They're nice and sturdy. I'll have a link down below. But I'm going to be taking a bunch of them out to have bigger spaces for some new fish coming up that I'll be getting. And I'll have some unboxings coming up soon. Very excited. Up here is basically this empty shelf where I used to keep spawn tubs, just some nice larger sized shallow tubs I would sometimes spawn fish in, which are those. Like, they're comparable to the footprint of like a 10-gallon tank, but they're lightweight, they're stackable, they're just easy to use, and I appreciate that. Then just some storage up there. This rack here used to hold just jars, but now it has some pretty little 5-gallon tanks. This one was the topic of my last video, which was making this tank from start to finish, and also like how I destroyed it with algae from my neglect from after having my baby. And I've done a really good job at getting a lot of that algae out, but I still have some work to do on that one. And then this tank, I'll have a video on that one coming up soon. Then I have another little 10-gallon divided tank down here with just a couple fish in it. Also, another 10-gallon divided tank right there with just a couple fish in it. There's only 2 fish in there now. I'm very sparse on fish. A lot have gone to my local pet store. These 2 shelves, they hold some 20-gallon grow-outs that I use for growing out spawns. I guess I could turn on a light, huh? As you can see, this tank is empty. It just has some snails in it and a little bit of substrate that I'm just keeping the tank cycled. Also, these 2 tanks up here are empty. Same thing, just snails. Keeping it cycled for a future grow out. And then I'm probably going to go to the pet store and get another 20-gallon long to put right here. So this is my very small fish room that I do a lot with. But I've expanded out of the fish room. We're going to go look at that next. So long. Actually, my baby's waking up, so it's like the perfect time to take a little breather. Oh, my baby. Now that you've seen the fish room, I'm walking into another room of my house, which is right back here, where I have a metal stand where I keep a bunch of fish tanks. It's my tank rack, right back here. I'm gonna have to be a little quieter because my little girl's sleeping, so is my baby. I can't ruin this. This is precious, precious time, so I have to be kind of quiet. So we weren't really using this space very much. I commandeered it to put this fish tank rack there. My poor husband. I have 5 20-gallon tall tanks on the bottom, and then in the middle rack I have 6 10-gallon tanks. Currently nothing on the top rack. I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do up there, actually. I'm not sure if I should make it like another grow out rack for spawns and do 5 more 20-gallon talls up here. I just haven't figured that out yet. But maybe I should, because the Petco dollar per gallon sale is coming up pretty soon. I'm not going into too much detail on what's in the tanks right now. I'm going to have a video on these guys coming up soon. These are blacked out because they share a light, and I have some macrostoma holding eggs in there right now. And I'm giving this guy a chance to just bring his eggs to term. So we'll see if he's a good boy or not. Then also a variety in these tanks here. And that's my quarantine tank, my little 10-gallon quarantine tank. That's my egg tumbling tank, which I keep failing at. I'm very bad at tumbling eggs. Various minnows and mahachai and fish and blah, blah, blah. I don't want to go too much into detail on my tanks because this isn't a real tour. This is just a state of the fish room tour. So I can compare things when I actually get everything looking the way I want and I feel proud of it and I want to share it. This door right here leads to a utility closet where I have some storage. This is my main storage rack in my utility room. It's a bit messy. I've been working in here. Down here on the bottom, I keep all my planted tank substrates that I use, which my favorite one right now is this nice dark one, Florin Volcanite. I keep all of my liquid products on this rack. On this rack, I just have some grindleworm mother cultures that I use, and I have some grindleworm cultures growing out right now. I'm trying to get them really nice and mature, and then maybe offer them for sale on my website, but they're just not there yet. And that's a pretty mature culture too. Yeah, these are good. But the ones that I want to have for sale are not quite there yet. Then I have some woods, I have some miscellaneous decorations and lights and just miscellaneous camera storage up there. Nothing too fancy. I have more fish tanks than I actually have in the house. I'm out in my garage right now where I'm just storing a few of my tanks. Here, I'll show you. These 2 40-gallon tanks I will be bringing back into the house to use as some grow outs eventually. This is my cinder block stand that I made quite a while ago. I have a video on it, but this thing's so useful because you can literally pick it up and move it anywhere really easily. So I love my little cinder block stand. And I'll bring my 40-gallon breeders back into the house eventually once I have some more spawns growing out this winter. One really cool thing that I'm kind of excited about is these dividers. These are removable dividers for a 40-gallon tank. The person who made my other dividers, Life with Pets, is also making a 40-gallon size, and she sent these to me to try out, and I think they're awesome. And I can't wait to use them. Oh my goodness. I feel like it's going to make my 40-gallon breeder just a little more versatile if I'm able to divide up some fish, especially considering spawns oftentimes get aggressive towards, fish they haven't grown up with. So this is cool. I will be using these dividers this winter. I'm kind of excited about it. So if you're looking for some removable 40-gallon dividers just for the pure usefulness and utility, you know where to go. This is Life with Pets channel. I like supporting other YouTube channels. And she does a great job on these. I really, really like these dividers and I endorse them. Definitely. She's not paying me to say that either. Here's another tank that I could use if I wanted to for a project. I think it's like a 45-gallon, some really tall, skinny one. And then this guy with some potting soil sitting on it is another big tank of mine. I think this is like 65 gallons. Another Craigslist score. I think I've shown pretty much everything. That's everything. That's all I have. So like I mentioned, this isn't like a big fancy tour of all this stuff that I'm super proud of. It's more just like a, hey, look what I'm working with now and let's see what I'm able to do this winter. That way, not only I can see, but other people can see that it's not perfect all the time. It takes a lot of work to have a really nice fish room and all these things happening and beautiful projects and beautiful tanks. And it's not perfect all the time, and that's okay. It takes a lot of work. to get some of these big, beautiful fish rooms that you see in all these videos on YouTube that I usually watch and I drool over all these fish rooms that I see. Just dreaming of my future fish room. But I love watching all the fish room tour videos, by the way. I love those videos because it makes me dream about my future fish room, which isn't just mainly in a bathroom. I think I do pretty well for being mostly stuck in a bathroom and working out of a bathroom. I think I do a pretty good job. That's my little baby. He's my buddy. He goes with me wherever I go, including into the garage. Isn't that right? He's going to be my little garage buddy someday. Won't ya? That's a yes. So guys, what do you think about my fish room? Drop it in the comments down below. Do you think it has a lot of potential? Because I sure do. Thanks for watching, guys. Be sure to stay tuned because I'll be having a lot of fun stuff coming up. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time.